Hello, thank you so much for downloading. I hope that this presentation helps you reconnect with yourself, even if it's just a little bit. Um, Before we get started, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about who I am and what this presentation is all about. So my name is Giovanna. I am a life strategist. I'm also a lifestyle blogger and mom. I am talking to you today about the importance of self-love in a presentation titled Unlocking the Key to You, It All Starts with Self-Love. So again, I'm Giovanna Tisdale. I am the owner of Positive Forward Movement, LLC, under which I offer coaching services, blogging, as well as a podcast. As a life strategist, I'm kind of more like a personal consultant. I don't really prefer life coach, but I help women that have experienced hurt. I help them to heal and restore self-love so that they're able to move forward in life and really work on their goals and put themselves first. I'm not just a life coach. I'm your sister and friend, and I'm dedicated to helping you find love and strength within yourself. So I said I was a mom. I have two girls. Kayla's 13 and Savannah just turned 1. I am engaged to the most amazing man ever. And I have had a very rough period in my life where I'd gotten out of an abusive relationship and I wasn't really loving of myself. And life was really hard for me during that time. And what I found was that I was looking for love from other people or to have that feeling, but what I needed most was it from myself. So I started focusing on myself and I started managing my life. And Positive Forward Movement was actually a personal mantra that I adopted and used. And that is what helped me restore my own self-love, overcome depression, and I transformed my life. And I decided to start Positive Forward Movement, which I founded a few months ago this year so that I could help other women do the same thing. Your life is your business, manage it. And that's the motto of Positive Forward Movement. If you're not minding your business, then who is? So, and like I said, self-love is definitely an inside job. I believe that our lives are our business and it should be managed. Like you have to be active and present in your own life. A key part of life, how we spend our time and our ability to move forward comes from within. So when we get those bumps in the road that kind of throw us off, the things that we do is really determines the course of our life. So life is going to continuously throw stuff at us. And it's how we spend our time and really how we feel about ourselves that determine our actions, which determine whether we let those things knock us off course or not. And time management is one of the biggest components of like the coaching that I talk about, because like I said, how we spend our time is so important. And a lot of us aren't really taught to dedicate time to ourselves as mothers, as women, as employees, or business owners, as wives and girlfriends and sisters and daughters. We dedicate so much of our time to other people, and we're taught to put others first, that, you know, doing for ourselves is selfish, that we don't really dedicate time. And when it comes to managing our own time, we may fall short. So that's something that I really like to focus on when it comes to self-love also. Now, I want to ask a question, and I can't see your answers, but it's just something that I really want you to think about. And this is like a really interesting question. And when I ask this in public or when I'm doing a live speech, the answers are always interesting. So I want to ask you, how did you learn to love yourself? Were you taught to love yourself the same way you learned how to do your makeup or ride a bike, the way you learn math, the way you learn how to cook? Or was it something that's more so implied? And I know for me, I think it was more so implied. And sometimes it's not even really implied. It's not taught. So, and I know as a mom, it's easier for me to see it because as I watch my daughters grow, I can kind of see how that whole self-love component evolves. And that kind of touches on that whole nature versus nurture debate that psychologists like to have. It's a bit of both. When children start out, when we all start out as kids, it's all nature, right? We have our moms, our family, and everybody that's telling us how wonderful we are, how smart and funny and talented and just great that we are. And then we go out and it's nurture. And, we're nurtured by our family. We're nurtured by the people that care about us. Then we go out, we go to school and we meet nature. We're exposed to more, a bigger environment, different people. And those people may challenge those beliefs that we've been told. Now, we might be told that we're smart. We might be told that we're pretty. We might be told that we're funny. We might be told that we're talented and all these other great descriptors of ourselves. But when we go out and we meet people who say, no, you're not smart, you're not pretty, you're ugly, you're not talented, you're stupid, you're never going to be anything, you can't dance, you can't do this, your food tastes terrible, we don't know what to do, right? So there's something that I call the self-love bank. And, when we start out, that bank is full. It's full of all those great compliments and those great qualities that we believe about ourselves because nobody really told us any different. So now that we're out here in this world and we have all these other people telling us the exact opposite, that we're not great, we're ugly, our hair isn't pretty, it's too short, it's too this, we don't meet up to other people's expectation, that takes away from our self-love bank. But what happens is we don't know how to fill it back up because nobody told us how to love ourselves. Nobody told us what to do when the naysayers come. And so what happens is that inner critic, it starts to develop and it starts to form, and its voice, it gets louder and it gets louder. And that inner critic, it creates doubt. It starts to say, well, maybe I'm not that smart. Well, I'm not going to take this test because I'm just too tired. I don't want to study. So we're creating excuses. Oh, I'm going to fail. I'm scared to try, to apply for this college because what if I don't get in? It puts you down. It tells you you're stupid. And then your self-worth and your self-esteem and your confidence and all of that starts going down because we don't know how to build ourselves up and stay rooted in self-love. Self-love is an inside job. You have to put yourself first. Teaching, especially for women, we are taught to take care of others. We're taught not to be selfish, and we're taught to do for others. Like, you don't get to come first. And I think that is so wrong, and it's so damaging to our mental health. Anything that you want to change, if you want to start a new fitness plan, if you want to start working out, if you want to start a new diet, if you want to start taking better care of your hair, if you want to start saving money, if you want to start doing anything different, you can do that today, right now, and that would be the most amazing thing ever. But you're not going to see it through if you're not committed to yourself. And that is what self-love is all about. It's about having that relationship with yourself, the same way you take care of your boyfriend or your husband, that same commitment that you have in your relationships with others, you need to have that very same commitment with yourself. And even me, I had to sit down and really look at my relationship with myself. And I realized I had taken on so many projects and undertakings, even this year, that I was kind of neglecting myself. And I didn't realize it because I was having fun. I was really working in my business and growing my blog and just doing all these amazing things. But I really had to stop and sit down and go back to the basics and put myself first. Because even in my blog, I'm not going to do well as a mother, as a business owner, as an employee, as a wife, or anything if I'm not taking care of myself, because I'm going to be burnt out and I'm not going to have anything to give to anyone else. So you want to make sure that you're committed to yourself. It really, truly all begins with you. And making any change, no matter what it is, there are 3 key things that you really need to do. First, you need to start choosing differently. You have to unlearn those self-sabotaging behaviors. I am great at pinpointing my own self-sabotaging behaviors, and that is a skill that really comes in handy, is being able to evaluate yourself and decide what things are you doing that are keeping you stuck where you are. Then you need to stay motivated, and that comes from being committed to yourself and why, knowing the reason why you want to make the change that you want to make in your life. So you have to have a really good deep down why. If you want to buy a house, don't just say, I want to buy a house because I'm 35 and I'm supposed to have one by this age. No, you really need to make it a story, make it like something that's going to bring tears to your eyes. I want to buy a house so that my children will have a backyard to play in, so that when my parents get of age and they need somewhere to stay, there's space in my home for them. I want a 2-car garage so that, my car is always protected. Like, just go all in, make a vision board, do whatever you have to do to keep yourself motivated. There are tons of resources and tools that you can use to stay on track and stay committed to your goal. And one of those is a plan, having a self-care plan to hold yourself accountable. And basically what this is, and I create these in strategy sessions that I do with clients, it is a list of what your goal is, how you're going to achieve it, what you're going to do if you have issues, like if obstacles come up. So you know, those excuses that we can kind of come up with, we're going to go ahead and have a way to deal with them head on so that they don't knock us off track. Having that plan, it also gives you a point of reference. So if you're ever like down and you're like, oh, I'm not about to do this, you can go through and read it and you'll be like, wow, I really made a plan for this. I'm going to stick to it. Even though, this happened and it threw me off, I'm not going to let it deter me from my goal, because I'm motivated and I'm committed to seeing the change that I want to see in my life. It's a lot. And making changes in our life are hard, and it's a lot harder, and trust me, I know, because I had to do it by myself. It's a lot harder to make a positive change when you have to do it alone. It's so much easier when you have other people to support you or help you hold accountable, but that's not always the case for people. And that's why, like, as a life coach, that's why I try to keep my prices reasonable, because I want everyone to have the same chance of success and to have that support so that they can be the best version of themselves. Now, there are 4 layers that I like to work on in anytime I'm working with a client, because I think these 4 areas have a huge impact on our lives. And they do overlap and they intertwine and they kind of feed off of each other and they can balance each other out. And, imbalance in one area can cause issues in other areas. So it's really dynamic how these layers work together. And I've seen them in my own life and things that I've been through. And so these were the 4 areas that I really focused on when I was changing my own life. And everyone can relate to them. I'm also putting together a live intensive where we really go through and pinpoint and work through each of these layers together. It's going to be called Renewed and Restore. And I'm hoping that I will have everything laid out by October. It's going to be live. So I'm going to start local here in Raleigh. And it's going to be really great. I'm going to do a self-care hour, which will have in a nice hotel suite type of situation where masseurs will come in. So I want it to be very relaxing and very therapeutic, but it's going to be some hard work. We're going to work through some tough issues together around these 4 areas. And when you walk away, you're going to have a self-care plan to take care of you. So the 4 layers are your spiritual layer. No matter your religion or spiritual beliefs, there's something you can do to grow and deepen this area, whether it is learning about different religions, prayer, meditation, a gratitude journal, going to a service, joining a Bible study group, or just fellowshipping with people of the same faith or belief as you. So those are some things that you can do. And I challenge you to think of one thing that you can start doing to really cultivate this area of your life. And it can be something as, maybe if you can't physically get out to go to church, maybe you'll just live stream it. There are tons of options. Maybe you just want to read your Bible 10 minutes a day in the morning, or just, pick a verse and keep that verse with you and read it several times throughout the day. There's so many things that you can do in this area to grow your spiritual self. The next is financial. That has like a huge impact on our lives. It can impact us emotionally and, physically. It can impact us in so many ways. So some things that you can do to develop your financial self is definitely create a budget, grow your savings, eliminate your debt, pull your credit report, learn about finances, talk with a financial counselor. You can take a course on finances. There's so many things that you can do in this one area to really help improve your finances. And I'll talk about this a lot because a lot of us have student loan debt, or, we're trying to buy houses, we have car payments, we have children. So this area can be a huge, huge stressor for people. And then things come up. So I think it's really important to kind of focus on this, even if it's just a small change. You know, there's something that you can probably start doing to help improve your financial situation. Mental, emotional. This is a humongous, humongous area. And we don't talk about it a lot. Now I'm starting to see more and more talk about mental health, especially in the African American community. And I think that's really important because our mental health is just as important as our physical health. And our mental health, in fact, can cause physical symptoms. So it's really important that you keep this area in balance. There's nothing at all wrong with talking to a therapist or going to see a mental health professional. They're there to help you. I would love to see that stigma of surrounding, you know, going to a mental health professional. I would love to see that erased. There's nothing wrong with it. The same way you go to your doctor when you have, you know, a physical symptom, it's no different than going to a mental health therapist for a mental emotional issues. So some things you can do besides seeing a therapist, you can read a book, you can color, you can watch a funny movie, you can talk to a good friend, have some quiet time, rest, take a nap. So those are just some things that you can do. You can put a puzzle together. Anything to really stimulate and grow your mind. Again, you can take a course. The last area is the physical. That includes your physical appearance, like your hair, your skin, all of that. Even the places that you go. So you can go to church, you can create a skincare regimen, garden, go for a walk, ride a bike, take a swim, hang out with friends. And I do want to say that in this area, you want to make sure that you are interacting with people and going to places that fill you up and give you energy in a good way. You don't want to, you know, be around people that are bringing you down and draining you. So those are just some things that you can do to take care of yourself. And again, we'll go back over, there's spiritual, mental, emotional, financial, and physical. So those are the 4 layers of you that you really need to focus on. And my challenge for you is to think of one thing that you can do in each of these areas that can help you improve your life. So here are some ways that you can find me. I'm all over social media as MissJChristina.com. And you can, MissJChristina.com is going to take you to my lifestyle blog, but I am all over social media as Miss J. Christina. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter. I'm on Snapchat, just about every social network that you can think of, and some that you probably haven't heard of yet, like also on Periscope. There is a Facebook group called Real Women Connect. So if you would like to search that out, you can definitely find it and request to join. It's a new group, so I'm still getting everything formatted, but I would love to have you. So definitely connect with me on social. And I would love for you to be part of my exclusive lunch crew. That's what I call my newsletter subscribers. So if you visit positiveforwardmovement.com, you can pop in your email address and we can stay in touch that way as well. And if you would like to talk more, you can give me a call at my office line, 919-675-2210. And if there's a service of interest or just something you want to go over or want to touch on, you can definitely reach me that way. So it's been a pleasure, and I want to say thank you so much. Life is all about positive forward movement, and change begins with loving yourself. Again, I really hope that you were able to pull something of value out of this, and we'll talk soon. Thank you so much.